Hi, I'm Lauren. You are interviewing today for the veterinary position at Banfield. Can you state your name for me, please?
Gabby Murphy, it's great to meet you.
Great to meet you too. So why veterinary medicine?
I've always had a passion for animals. In my future, I was thinking more like doctor stuff, but I don't really know where I want to go.
Okay.
My pop has a farm, so I love animals that way. I've just always had that type of passion.
Wonderful. And tell me a little bit more about yourself outside of school.
I'm very athletic. That's kind of what I do a lot of. So where I have my internship is in Taekwondo. So I love to teach kids. I'm very interactive. I have a world title in Taekwondo, so I do a lot of that type of stuff. And then more like school related, I run cross country, track, that kind of stuff.
So I assume with your training and things, you train with other coaches and stuff. Could you tell me about a time where you maybe had a conflict with another coach or somebody was giving you some feedback that you maybe didn't appreciate at that time and how you handled that?
Yeah, I would say especially when I was a little bit younger, like 15, 16-ish, it was harder for me to take criticism from people that were the same rank as me or lower ranks than me. It felt like they didn't know what they were talking about, so I didn't exactly want to take their criticism at first. But then I started to realize that even if they might not be better than me at some things, an outside insight is always good to learn how to get better.
How do you stay organized with all the things that you kind of have going on? Are you a list girl? Are you
Yeah, I would say
your calendar?
I'm more of like a calendar person, type of planner. I like to have everything set out so I can see it, and then I get reminders on my phone through my calendar, so it'll send me and make sure I have it. Normally I don't need the reminder. I've gotten to a point where I've kind of set everything out. I look at my week on Sunday, and then I look at what I have to do, and then at that point I don't really need the calendar, but I still have it.
Have you had any problems with like parents having to step in and where you had to maybe talk up to someone that's, above you, and how you handle that?
Yeah, for sure. Especially like I was talking about with those stripes earlier. A lot of parents disagree or feel that their kid should have gotten stripes. And sometimes that's a hard talk to have. But when you're looking for their stripes and what they needed to get them, it's easy to explain, and a lot of parents tend to understand over some point. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they get upset and frustrated, and it's easier to come back and talk to them the day after. So sometimes we'll talk, and if they're really not getting there, we'll talk to them about scheduling a meeting or talking a different time about getting their stripe or anything it's about.
What questions do you have at all for anything?
Main questions I would have would be like, what are the hours like? Would be my main thing.
Yeah. So every hospital is different. At my hospital, usually my girls will either work, they usually do like 4-10s. So it's a full-time position, so 4 days a week, 10-hour shifts. So you are off 3 days. My hospital is open 7 days a week. Some hospitals are not. So it's kind of, you have to work with what your best fit is going to be as far as a veterinary hospital goes. But usually the hospital is open from 7 to 6. So usually the shifts are like an 8 to 6 or a 7 to 6, sometimes 7 to 5 or 7 to 3, depending on what is required for that day.
Yeah, that was the other thing I was going to ask, was if it was overnight or not.
It is not overnight, no.
Okay. So is there, how much are you working with animals? How much are you working with people?
It's definitely a 50-50. So the animals have to come by people, right? So it's a lot of getting the history from the owner and making sure like you're asking open-ended questions. So it's a lot of knowing what to ask, when to ask, and then the pet then comes back for treatment. Communication with the doctor is key because you're taking what that client is saying and then repeating it back to the doctor basically to kind of tell them what that pet is here for and how we can move along with best treatment. So the veterinary assistant position is it's client facing at first, and then you work with the animals, and then again it's client facing as you're finishing up the appointment.
So what would you be looking for in, like, me as an employee, what would you be looking for me to do the best in my position?
Absolutely. I'm looking for somebody who can hold themselves accountable as well. I'm looking for somebody outgoing, somebody who's not going to kind of shy away from doing new skills or new tasks, because it's I can teach you whatever skills, I can't train your personality. So I need somebody that is kind of, as much as I hate to say it, bubbly, but a very outgoing personality, ready to kind of take on the day, new tasks, someone who's willing to accept feedback as well from a multitude of people, whether it be from me, the doctor, or like their peer. So I need someone who is kind of accepting of that as well. Someone who's not afraid to try new things and maybe not do it right the first couple times and be okay with it, because that's just how you learn new skills.